guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make what I like to call my cookie dough waffles. Because when life gives you weekends, hello weekend, we need to celebrate with something really wonderful. And I thought that these would be really wonderful if you're having people stay over for your Easter holiday, so you have family coming in from out of town and you want to make something really spectacular the next morning for brunch or lunch. These should be on the menu because they're so easy. They don't require fancy ingredients. They don't require any, long rising or anything like that, but they are so good. My sister likes to eat them with vanilla ice cream and chocolate syrup, but you know what? The world is your pickle, my friend. You do you. So the recipe is very easy. You're going to need sort of two sets of ingredients. To make the waffle batter, you just need some all-purpose flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, whole milk, eggs, lots of melted butter unsweetened, vanilla extract. And then for the cookie dough portion, you will need some unsalted butter that's been softened. You can see mine's a little bit melted, but that's okay. Brown sugar, granulated sugar. I've got flour, a little bit of salt, a little bit more milk, and some mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. And you're also going to need to add some vanilla to that as well. Let's get started right away. It's so easy. The first thing I'm going to do is work on my waffle batter because I want that to sit for just a few minutes. In my large measuring cup, but before I do that, I'm just going to mix together my sugar, flour, and salt and baking powder. In my large measuring cup, I'm going to add pretty much all of my wet ingredients. I've got my whole milk, I've got my eggs, a nice heavy splash of vanilla extract, because I love vanilla extract, and your melted butter. Give everything a whisk. It doesn't have to be perfect because once I added to my dry ingredients, I'm going to need to mix some more. Add the wet into the dry, and then just whisk everything, and you want to whisk just until everything is well combined. Don't carry over whisking, otherwise your waffles will be really, really tough, and you don't want that. You don't want to develop all that gluten and make them chewy. You want to be really light on the inside. So I'm just going to whisk these for about another 10 seconds, and then I'm going to let them sit for a few minutes while we work on the cookie dough portion of my cookie dough waffles. All right, so my waffle batter has been sitting for a few minutes. Now let's work on the cookie dough portion. So easy. In a bowl, I'm going to add my butter. Try to get it nice and soft. If it's a little melted like that, that's perfectly fine. I want both kinds of sugar and a splash of vanilla extract. Now you'll notice I'm not using any eggs in my cookie dough here because I don't find it to be necessary. I do need a little extra moisture, but remember, I am also not adding any baking soda, baking powder, none of that, because I'm not making actual cookies. We all love cookie dough batter, am I right? So I'm taking all the flavors that I love from a chocolate chip cookie dough and I'm just adding them into my batter. Now I know what you're thinking. Why not just add chocolate chips to your batter? You can do that, you can have chocolate chip waffles, but there's just something about actual cookie dough running through the waffles that just gives certain pieces of the waffles a little bit of a different texture, and you can really taste the cookie dough. I'm telling you, it's like magical. So what I am doing here is I'm just mashing together the both kinds of sugars, the butter and the vanilla. It's not going to be perfect. I also have my waffle iron preheating. Now the amount these will make and how long they'll take to cook is going to totally depend on your waffle iron. Also, if your waffle iron is a non-stick, then I actually don't, because I use my waffle iron very often, I don't even find it necessary to grease it or spray it with anything because it's just, they lift out really easily. But if yours is not non-stick, then you'll want to just brush it with some vegetable oil or butter or some non-stick spray between each batch that you make. Okay, I've added the flour, salt, milk, and my mini chocolate chips. I prefer mini chocolate chips here versus the regular size. I think that they blend way better and they're not as chunky. I don't know what it is, but that's just what I prefer. And all I'm going to do now is just mix this with my spatula until everything is pretty much incorporated. What I like to do now is I like to just take spoonfuls of my cookie dough and just drop it into the batter. Not that big. I try to do about teaspoon size each so that they can all sort of, and I'm going to mix it all together anyway, but I find that if I just were to add this whole big thing in the center of this, it just it takes me forever to mix it all together, and it never gets mixed quite the way I like it. So I just like to take my time, and I like to just do it this way because it just makes it better. When it comes to a waffle, I want it to be good. When it comes to anything, I want it to be good. And you know me, I hate sifting. I hate doing anything extra, any extra steps, unless I find it to be necessary. So if I'm taking the extra time to do this, you know it's gonna make a difference. All right, nearly there. I'll just take the rest with my spatula because I don't want to leave anything behind. Although I do want to leave a little bit because I'm gonna go ahead and clean it afterwards, you know. Just add that right in. And then I just take my spatula and I just kind of fold all these chunks like this. And you can see how much they kind of mix in, you know, so much easier rather than just like one big blob. That's why I do it that way. That's all I do. I don't like to take them, you know, too far because I don't want to break them up too much. I want pieces of cookie dough in my waffles. Okay, my waffle maker is preheated. Now what I need to do is I just need to add, like I said, each waffle maker is going to be different. So mine takes about a quart or so of waffle batter for each waffle. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these in here. I'm going to put the lid on. And mine takes about 3 minutes for my waffles to cook. So I'm going to keep my eye on that and then just keep making waffles. Excellent. My last one, hot. All right, you can see I've got a tray back there with a bunch of them done. I've got a tray here with a bunch of them done, and they've been cooling a little bit as I keep making more and more batches. Look, I refuse to let any little bit of batter go untouched, so I made myself a little teeny tiny one. But what I want to show you is the inside of one of these because you can see the cookie dough batter running through it, and I'm telling you, it is perfection. So, okay, so do you see that you can actually see the difference between the waffle batter and then the cookie dough batter? You see that? Waffle, cookie dough. That is what gives these such fantastic, fantastic flavor. And my sister is onto something. Taking one of these, putting a little scoop of vanilla ice cream on top and some chocolate syrup, and you can have an awesome, really fun dessert. These are to die for. They are so good. The cookie dough comes through, but it's not overpowering. The waffle itself is not too sweet. Cooked to perfection, really nice and soft on the inside, which is like how I like it. And when you can do too, which is what I do when I make waffles or even pancakes sometimes, I take the rest of them that aren't, you know, they're not going to get eaten, I pop them in the freezer, and then in the morning, sometimes if I want a waffle and I don't have time to go ahead and make a batch of waffles, pop them in the toaster and they come out nice, hot, and fresh, just like you just made them. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get the written recipe. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye!